guys, just doing a little night driving, heading back from the gym over to the home front, and yeah, got on FSD's driving, full self-driving's enabled, and short ride, see how it does. Haven't done a night drive on video yet, so you can see, check that out. It does really well, I think, at night. You know, the glare and the high beams, things that may bother some people in the evenings. A lot of people have trouble driving at night because of the situation of the darkness with the bright lights, especially today. A lot of the cars have these halogen lights that are just like super bright, even when they're not on high beam. Can really mess with your vision and your ability to navigate safely in the nighttime. But here we go. Been really deep into the weeds on this activity the past week and a half now with the banks that have been having trouble, basically having bank runs due to their balance sheets being corrupted with these long, mid to long range, mid to long term mortgage-backed securities, MBS, that were purchased in like high quantities during the heyday when interest rates are near zero or at zero. It's quite interesting to see it unfolding and how things have been, how quickly, you know, a bank of that magnitude can just fold under its weight, and all it takes is a fire to be lit and contagion to take place, and before you know it, the company no longer has deposits to match up with the risk and debt it has on the books, and regulators have to step in and take care of it. Yeah, but more importantly, it's just like the way things go. There's some interesting tweet I read the other day along this line about how due to deregulation and due to the nature of like what banks have become, where you know your money is basically being lent out or used to buy securities and all sorts of different instruments in order to basically increase the bank's return on capital that they have, your capital, our capital, depositors. And you know, when it's going well, it goes really well, but as soon as like there's a change in the trend, situation like we've had where the interest rates have been increased by the Fed aggressively more rapidly than any time in our history, it starts to put some stress on otherwise what seemed like sound decision making at the time. But yeah, the tweet that I read was just saying like how a few years back, maybe less than a decade ago, a company tried to create a bank that was completely, the business model was completely around the notion of taking depositors' money, keeping the deposits in a place where they do not lend it out, and they, you know, basically they create a service fee around that. So your money is secure, you know it's not going anywhere, and a service fee is paid for that security of the funds. That way you don't have to, basically it takes away the need for FDIC, right? If you know that money's always going to be there, you don't need insurance in a situation where the bank, you know, places some bad bets, makes some bad investments, creates a scenario where they put your deposits at risk for creditors or debt holders. So they try to do this. However, it was not approved by the FDIC. They took it to court, and essentially, you know, of course, says that we have a certain system in this country where your existence would threaten that existence. You know, it basically would pull depositors away from these other banks, and we don't want to create that scenario. So it's incredible to think about. Yeah, you know, just get you thinking about the way the system has been set up and the way it's been created, and it, you know, gives you a lot of insight into how certain scenarios play out. It's all kind of tied back to the underlying infrastructure and systems that we've created for ourselves and why issues come out of it. Like even solid banks, you know, this contagion is unfortunate because it's not just because, you know, the difficult part about this is that as soon as one bank goes down for their mistakes and their lack of risk mitigation and hedging to prevent this type of situation from occurring, once that goes down, it starts to create a frenzy. You know, people's trust and confidence in the system starts to waver, and as that wavers, even the most secure and well-run banks become a target. I think there's a bank, First, so I forget the name of it, FRC, First something Capital, you know, well-run bank, been around for decades, highly well, you know, used by kind of fluent individuals that care about risk mitigation, and even that bank, you know, is just being crushed by the market because it is a public company. You know, short sellers attack it. They create a scenario where even those depositors become wary and start to pull their money out or start to diversify it into other places if they're above that 250,000 threshold. Even with the FDIC and the SEC and the Fed and, you know, basically the full administration behind it, full U.S. government coming out and saying that depositors will be safe and that their funds are going to be guaranteed well above this insurance rate, which, you know, at this point, what the heck is the insurance rate for anymore? Basically saying that, you know, we'll protect you, and all these risky activities go in the background has no, you know, there's no consequence essentially. Although they you know, they're waving this potential stick of finding the culprits and putting the management that's behind these decisions, these risky bets, and this behind, you know, coming after them in a way that can target the individuals. You know, and on the face of it, sounds really good. That seems the right thing. Depositors are at no fault in this situation. So make sure they're whole, and then find the individuals that create the scenario and give them the consequence. And obviously the investors themselves, they are under the consequence of this scenario as well. Yeah, quite a scene. On the flip side, you know, it's kind of like put the market in a situation where whatever increase in Fed rate to combat inflation is being questioned now. If the overall system can even withstand that kind of pressure, is the judgment been, has there been poor judgment used to increase the rate at the rate that, you know, the speed and velocity that they have? So at least a moderate approach is being expected, or possibly even a pause. You know, I would think, you know, the way that things have been handled, it seems like it's been contained, that they can continue, but with the plan that they had, which was like a 25 basis point increase this time and maybe next time, and then a pause from there. That thing instills confidence, but also continues to address the other issue in front of us, which is inflation. All right, that was it. Drive was smooth, no interventions, safe and sound. Thank you and good night.